What's up, YouTube? This is Chuck again with Extreme Games, and I want to talk about AMC. I'm seeing a ton of projections and stuff, and I've put some stuff on Twitter, but this last little, I say little, but it wasn't, dip that we're in right now, extended the projection that I've been putting out. I was projecting downside for weeks. You can go back and check that, but I needed to make sense of it. So I did what I do best, and I started over on a clean slate. And what I had originally had still stands, and but it got extended, and I needed to look at some new levels and future squeeze projection levels, and I got that all cleaned up and figured out, and I wanted to share it. So let's dive in. Let's take a look at this and let me explain it. This video is probably going to be a little longer than the last, the Nokia one, but let's go ahead and take a look here, and let me explain this to you and what goes on in my mind. So I identified before I start, none of this is financial advice. Shouldn't be taken as that. It's for entertainment, education. This is how I trade. This is my way of trading. I'm a fractal based, algorithm identification based trader. That's what I do. It's what I found is my natural gift, and I have used it to become very successful at trading based off of this. So I'm just sharing it. Alright, here we go. So here's the fractal pattern and the fractal shapes that play out with AMC. They play out with a bunch of others. This is if I were to name this one, I would probably name it the meme fractal, since that's what we've been coined. That's what AMC and GameStop and BlackBerry, and I could go on, have been labeled, by mainstream media. But this is used on a number of them, and I just put this here so you could see it before I show it, and not on the candles. I've seen this hundreds of times, and once you see this and then you relate it to the charts, you won't unsee it. But anyhow, this is what it is. This is how it plays out. We have this run-up shape that forms, and there's almost a pennant that forms on the inside of this. And then what happens is there's typically three different supports. There's one with inside the pennant. This would be the second support area, the third support area, and then there's always a build out for a new bottom. And what happens is every single time it breaks out of the pennant, out of this shape to the downside, and it always eventually breaks, every time it breaks through all three supports. Once it does that on GameStop too. GameStop and AMC are almost identical. There's a little, couple little nuances that are different. I can do a GameStop video later and do the same, and explain it and show the little differences. But anyways, the bottom builds out. We get a new bottom. Depending on how you look at this, you could look at it as a W and then a U. I personally look at it as a small triangle, big triangle. I look at this as the whole down move through all three supports, and then the new bottom here, and then small triangle, large triangle, and then this is typically the pennant breakout, or the if it's on the macro, but on the micro, and that's what I'm going to show you on the interior of the macro pennants, this is where we start over. This is where the fractal starts over. So this is the start stop area, the beginning end area, and again we see the repeating pattern here, but then typically what we see is a run up, and this run up is dependent upon the location of the fractal within the macro pennant. So, and what I want you to see here, and I just did 2 charts here, and I have one. When I pull this up, it's gonna spin here. You're gonna be like, oh my god, because there's lines everywhere. That's why I needed to do this, so that you could understand where the lines came from. So we'll go back here to the January, February run up and pennant, and I'll show you this. So inside of here, when you go down to the 4 hour, the shape is in here. This is gonna have to be a trust me bro moment. I promise you it's in here. Now I'm just gonna show you on a larger scale here. Okay, so it was here first. And that was the second one. And you'll see it here in a minute. So this is the shape that's normally there. This would be, and now when I'm drawing supports, and I put 2 of them in here, and I'll put this one in here. On all these pennants, like I said, there's 3 supports, right? This would be the first one, and this is part of the pennant. And there'd be like, you know, here's the pennant area. There's always, sometimes they catch on these supports, but nonetheless, they all eventually fall through. So just for the sake of not drawing lines everywhere, to keep it as clean as possible to show you until we get to the crazy one. And then what happens is the second support will always take you from the bottom of the flagpole. So all supports are drawn from the bottom of the flagpole, and the second support will take you from, once you've had a bottom, will take you from the new bottom. It'll take you to the first new high, and that'll be the second, or the second support down. Let me put this here. And then the third support, which is in here, will always take you to the high of the new fractal. Okay? And this is the beginning here of a new fractal. And there's the shape again. Okay, same thing. We play out. There's supports when we zoom into 4 hour, and I'm going to stay out because I'm going to go in there and show you. I have another chart already that I use, but the supports are here. Believe me, they're here. Right, that's about the same one. So that would take you to the new high, or the first high. And then the next fractal high. Okay, so what you end up seeing in here is the fractal plays out, as I've stated, dropping through all of the supports, and then a new fractal begins, and then at the end of the second fractal within this, obviously because of where it was, they didn't, like they've done recently, extend the pennant. It started the new fractal shape here, because here's the same one again. And then we have the May-June run-up. Okay. Now let's come up here to this pennant that we're still currently in. Same thing. We had the shape in here. The first, after this run up, it made this shape. It's a little more drawn out if you but again, on the shorter time or the smaller time frame, like the 4 hour, you'll see this. I guess it was pretty much there. Okay, once again, support. This would be like the pennant area, basically. First support. Second support. Actually, yeah. Second would be here. And take you to the second support. Always takes you to the first high after the bottom from the fallout. Third support always takes you to the high of the new fractal. So can you see that now? This would be the pennant area after we see the shape, after we saw this shape right here. That's the beginning of a new fractal. It printed that here. Then we get from the bottom of the flagpole 3 supports. First support is part of the pennant area in which it builds out before the breakdown of that pennant to the downside. Shit. Did not mean to move that. Every time. That's alright. The second support on the way down, you can see it catches itself from the bottom of the flagpole, will always take you to the first high after the fallout bottom. And then the third support from the bottom of the flagpole, if you extend it out, will always, and you can see here's the third catch it got, bounced back and then fell through, will always take you to the new high of the new fractal. And this happens, just like I explained in the Nokia, over and over and over on all time frames. So once again, same thing here. Okay. There's your fractal shape. This would have been the first support. Second support always takes you to the first new high after the bottom. Third support. Oh, right there it is. Always takes you to the new fractal high. Now this is where things got interesting, right? Because the anticipation and projection of most guys that do TA, cycle theory, fractal-based theories, trading, what have you, the anticipation was that this pennant formation, 2 fractal shapes, it would play out, it would create this run up here that would eventually lead us out here to a breakout from here that would lead us to the fractal shape again, right? That was the anticipation that everyone had. I know this is ugly, I'm just, as I'm talking. And then we had a downturn. Now, a week prior to the downturn, 2 weeks prior to the downturn, I was anticipating the same thing. However, a week before the downturn-ish, around a week, I could see that something was changing in the price action, and I was holding calls, February calls, anticipating that run up, the next run up, and breakout out of this pennant. And I saw the price movement changing, so I sold my calls, got out of that position with the shares I still have, and called for downside and started posting it on my Twitter. And then sure as hell, here we are. So the reevaluation had to happen because of that. Because it did vary from this, and this is basically all we kind of have to go off of, right? Of previous price movement that has a that's common, that's like itself in its previous price movement to relate to for projection when it comes to cycle and fractal theories. So I went back to the drawing board and just looked at everything. And now that you see this, so I needed to show you this, right? Something that not a lot of people do with TA that I see is they don't extend their lines. And which one do I want to show? This one. They don't extend their support lines. And you need to, because they will take you to future price points faithfully, especially when you're seeing fractal patterns repeating, algorithms that are being ran to do this. They're cycles. It's an algorithm that's ran. I explained it in the Nokia video. This is what most of, if not all of, the market is ran off of. And I just so happen to have an ability to look at these charts and I can see it clear as day. Anyways, so here we go. This is more intricate, but now that I showed you what the basis of the support lines and the extension of them is, I'm going to show you. And I'm going to show you why the downturn came and why it was missed. Why I missed it initially and why most people missed it and didn't anticipate all of this. And I'm going to show you why. And then I'm going to show you future, where we're going to be on this next squeeze. And it's coming. Trust me. Trust me, bro. I keep saying that. I don't know why. Okay. So here we go. Just like I showed you in the last one. The pennant shapes, the blue lines here. The blue lines are all the support lines that I showed you in the last frame on the last clean chart. Now, if you would have had your pennant support line out here running against this, it kept this movement tucked up inside of it. And I think that's where the mistake was made, because prior to this, which would have been a breakdown of the pennant at the time that it made this move, the pennant bottom support line would have been drawn right here. And this is where it needed to stay. You can see how it landed here. And that's where the bottom was created. Now what I call this line here, that basically almost, if it were a completely symmetrical pennant, it would split the pennant down the middle. This is what I call the last resort support. This is where we get our last fall down out of the second fractal. This is our lowest point. So when I say the bottom is in, that's what this means. The last resort support, the bottom is in. From that point on, it will not go past that. That's where we're currently at right now. We just put the bottom in. So again, let me go over these real quick. Same thing so I can explain this one. The first support's within this pennant here. Second support goes to the first high after the bottom. Third support, this was a little more volatile, but it's there on the smaller time frames. I know it looks kind of funky on the daily, but it's there on the smaller time frames. Third support goes to the new high of the next fractal when you pull it out. And I'll show you, if you go in between the second and the third support, there's one other little tiny support area, and if you pull that the whole way out, it takes you to the next high of the next run up of the next macro pennant, and I'm going to show you where that comes into play for future price projection here. But anyways, as you see, the last resort support caught us here, and here's our trend line then for the bottom, right? And you can see it's pretty much right where they cross. It's almost like a golden cross where it caught it. And then at the time there would have been a breakdown through that pennant, and this is where it caught, and I did this, and it's literally parallel to the internal pennant support at that time. And that's there for a reason as well, and you're about to see that now. You'll see the functionality of why that's there and what it does. Here we go. So the little tiny support that goes kind of, it wasn't a major support. If you put a support line there, and it's between the second and third, and pull it, it takes you to the next macro pennant high. Okay? And that's what we did here, and I'll show you that in a minute. And you can see what I mean by it's not really a major support, or an established support, but it was there, and it's between 2 and 3. So anyways, same thing here, right? We played out all the same. The support lines do all the same function as in the prior pennant, just like I showed you. Yeah, and there would have been a line in here too, and the functionality of it would have been to the, see, I don't have that in there, but it's right here with the green line. It's the same thing. Would have taken you to the first high after the new bottom. Same thing, same play out. First fractal, beginning of second fractal, full play out, right? Last resort support, second fractal beginning, same lines drawn to the same support levels, to the same next highs. I know this is confusing. I'm trying to really make sure I get this across so you understand what I do here. As you can see, again, the pennant support, second support fell through. I call that still the pennant support. Here we go to the first high after the new bottom, and then we go to the new high of the next high of the new fractal, and then we have our bottom put in. However, just like in this first pennant, and the line is paralleled and exactly in line with where it is. Here's our last resort support again. The 27-ish, 27.50 2750-ish area, damn near the Golden Cross area ish, like I like to call it. Identical to this. This is why I missed this. I had the pennant support drawn in here, perfectly symmetrical, and it's not. It's an offset pennant, and you can see that by the first pennant, and here it is, and that's why we ended up falling down here. Now, there were other conditions that contributed, which is why we did fall, I think, just below this, and we wicked down. However, this is where the support is. It should have been, as far as replicating this and falling in line with the pennant support trend line that keeps us in this macro multiple pennant stepping case scenario to the moon for these multiple squeezes. Dare I say Tesla-like-ish. So anyways, as you can see, same exact functionality of this bottom, or the top, I guess it's the bottom pennant support that runs completely parallel up, and that's exactly where our bottom just got put in. So I'm confident saying that the bottom is in. That's the bottom. I'm also confident in the transposition of these fractal shapes to finish out this pennant just as this one finished out. I believe we'll see the small triangle, the big triangle. We're going to see a pretty decent correction again here, pullback, correction, whatever you want to call it, dump, whatever. And when we break out of the pennant, just as we did here, we're going to see our next run up. Also, you know, this is a pullback too. I just posted a thing on Twitter yesterday. You know, down here, this was a 25% pullback. So we're going to have that again as well. But these are all things we need to be prepared for. I know that I prepared for emotionally and mentally. So as to the higher it gets, we know, and I know, we're going to see bigger pullbacks, bigger drops. So this is what I use to prepare. I measure these. I don't just look at these shapes and say, oh, cool, yeah, we're going to do this and that. I measure these things out. I see what percentage dip we're going to see, pullback, whatever you want to call it, that we're going to see, what price levels I feel we're going to be at. I use my support lines and pull out to establish those levels as it literally in its previous self shows you how to do, which I did, and that's where I got these, and it's all lined up so far. Every pulled out extended support line has led us to the same exact levels. The first high out of the new bottom after the fractal shape begins, the fallout of the three supports are, we go to the one support goes, I think it's the second support goes to the first high from the new bottom. The third support goes to the new fractal shape high. Every time. Pull them out. Every time. Here it is again. Fractal shape. You pull it out. We're going to go to, there's our fractal high. This is going to be our new high. First high after the fall and the breakdown of the three supports. Yada yada. There you go. You see it's in line with the continuation of what it's doing. I think what happened and what happens sometimes, I know I overlooked this. I apologize for anyone that follows my updates and my theory. if it's any consolation, I thought the bottom was going to be around $33. I thought that it would wick down to about 32 real quick, like it did in this previous pennant and fractal. And I purchased a shit ton of calls in that area. So if it's any consolation to you, I'm super red on those, and I'm still holding my share position. So anyways, that's what this is. So then what happens is, for me to project for the next upcoming push and leg up and squeeze, because as I said, I am me personally 100% convinced that the bottom is in, and that we are going to start finishing out this full fractal pennant breakout, beginning fractal shape, and go. And this is where the catch you off guard thing comes into play, right? You start getting used to seeing this shape, right? You see it here, you see it here, and when you see it again, oh yeah, we're just gonna play out, we're gonna dump, and then we're gonna build out that bottom, and then we're gonna, it's gonna take another 6 months, because that's what you've seen here, that's what you've seen here, and then you see it again, and it pulls back 25%, and it's there. I think the psychology, and what I've established, the psychology behind that move is what happens after every one of these pennant shapes are made. Right? So if, and we know it happened, you got to be realistic. It's happening. People are swinging this. This is a way to catch them out of the trade. You see this shape, the next move is down and hard, down hard. So when you see it, and then it's like 6 months worth of build out until the next one comes. Or at least a couple months till the next bottom is in, right? This is how I think the psychology to catch you off guard is. They run it up. They build out the new fractal shape to indicate, here it comes. Here's the new fractal. And the next move is drop. Sell my shares here because I'm about to swing this again. Boom, 25%. Yep, I was right. Oh, fuck. I wasn't right. Right? Just my thoughts. It happened here. You can see it happen there. And I believe it's going to happen here again, because we're doing the exact same thing. The exact same thing. On the exact same levels. The exact same everything. So, if anybody's telling you that this has been changed, that the projection of the cycle or the fractals repeating has been altered or broken or changed, they're wrong. Period. They are wrong. Show them this video. They're wrong. This is exact. It's exact. Nothing has changed. It was an oversight on anybody that didn't see this. And I don't follow anybody that saw this. And I saw it, and I've been building out a new chart to confirm it, and then I just keep seeing all these guesses coming out. So I thought, you know what? And I haven't slept, to be honest with you. I've been up all night measuring, putting this all together, figuring out how I was going to present this, that it would make sense. So I really hope it does. Please let me know if it does. If it doesn't, please ask questions in the comments. I will answer them the best I can. I'm hoping that you can see this. My brain sees this stuff very easily. And sometimes I try to explain it, and I feel like I haven't explained it in depth enough. So I hope that this translates to crystal clear understanding and vision for you. If it doesn't, comment or DM me on Twitter, and I will answer your questions to the best of my ability. Okay? Again, just a recap. You can see where this pennant support line was always meant to be, is exactly where we hit. And this is the last resort support line within the pennant that damn near splits it down the middle both times. They pretty much cross right here, and that is the last resort support of this fractal pattern and algorithm, the way it functions and plays out and prints this chart for us. And then we're going to have a false breakdown when it does the exact same thing it did here. And then we have the breakout, and then we have the big 25% pullback, and then we got liftoff. I wholeheartedly believe the bottom is in. We will start seeing this movement. We will be able to confirm this. And you know the rest. Okay, so what I did was same as this green line here. I did the exact same thing. I took measurements to portray this next move in, I guess, equality for the move that we displayed here and the move that we displayed here. The distance between tops. There's a lot that goes into this for me as far as, and I typically don't put projections and prices out, but and people that have been on the couple live streams that have been with me will tell you that. They've asked me a few. I don't like putting that's the thing with fractal shapes. It's very hard to dictate and project price because fractals, the shapes can move. And if they're off just a little bit as far as movement or extended in any way, just like this was, they change. It's still the same fractal pattern. This leg here was just extended initially, but then when you go back and you see the trend line to keep us going in this stair-step pennant way, it was spot on. It was always meant to go where we just went. So I think we're right on track. We're right on schedule, and nothing has changed. Here's the next leg up. In my opinion, this will be the last resort support in the same exact area this is for the last two pennants, per measurements, per everything. The leg up, the in-between support line that takes us to our next leg up high. I think we'll see in the area of $172. And then I believe we're going to see something very, 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 very similar, if not exact, just as we've seen here play out. We'll see it come down. We'll see it make a new bottom. There'll be three supports. It'll break, it'll catch, and then break through all three of them. We'll build a new bottom. We'll come up. We'll make a new fractal shape. Again, we'll come down through three supports. We'll make a new base with the small a and the big A. We'll come up. We'll make a fractal, a beginning fractal shape. We'll fall down, and we'll fall down to this. It'll be out here though, where it lines up right here. We'll fall down to the last resort support where these cross over out here. I couldn't put this line. I think this line would be out a little more. I couldn't put it out here. Look, it won't let me go. I can't go any further out. Oh, there it is. See, I'm a liar. It'll be out there somewhere. But I believe in all of my heart that I am spot on. I have been throughout this for the most part, with a few little nuances. This here was my biggest oversight and miss that I've ever had. And it really wasn't that big, just due to the fact I called the downside. Prior to the downside, I saw the reversion start to happen on the 12th before we even reached the peak here. Excuse me. Anyways, that's what I think's happening. That's what I think has happened. And this is what I think's gonna happen. Like I said, I really hope this was explained enough and well enough and in depth enough that it made sense, and that you see what methods I use, and that you see how they make sense and how they correlate with itself, with its price movement in the moment and in the future. Okay? Support lines like this are meant to be pulled out and extended for future price movement. And if you do that, it will take you right to it. Try it. Pull up your chart, your AMC charts, your GameStop charts. I don't even want to say the rest of them because I want to make videos for the rest of them. Make a pennant. Go to the bottom of the flagpole. See where it found support. And pull a line. Pull a support line. And pull it the whole way out. And you'll see where there was support previously, there will be a new high somewhere. Whether it's the first high out of the new bottom, or it's the new high of the new fractal shape, you will see what I mean. And they literally correlate after every fractal begins. And you pull it from the bottom of the flagpole. Okay? That is how I analyze AMC. I'll say it once again. I fully believe that this is what is happening, what has happened, and what is going to happen. I'm 100% convicted and convinced. This is it. This is it. I feel very, very confident in that. Full disclosure, again, I am tremendously invested in AMC and GameStop. I want nothing more than for them to run up. However, I take my charting and I try the best that I can, regardless of that, to pull lines, identify algorithms as they are, just as I did in the Nokia video and on the live stream yesterday with Nokia. And that's what I did here overnight last night. I cleared my slate, started with this, I redid it, I moved the lines to the chart you just saw, I cleaned this one back up because I wanted to have it clean to show you what I meant. I wanted to show you the clean fractal shapes. I wanted to show you how if you pull your lines from the supports, it takes you to the first high from the new bottom after the fall. To the new high of the new fractal shape. And if you pull one from the flagpole in between, where you see a mini support, nothing major, but it was missed, and you pull that the whole way up, it'll take you to our next leg up on both of these. You can see where we dipped. This was the support line. Right here from the bottom of the flagpole. where we fell out of the second fractal to the cross to the last resort support. That's why it was missed here. You can see these were wicks down, like I said, but the pennant caught it. But this was the last resort support. There were market conditions, I believe, that contributed to that, to the wick down. However, the pennant support caught it. Exactly. This was meant to come down here this entire time. We're about to finish out the fractal movement, create that new fractal piece beginning, have our pullback, our second one, because we're going to have a little one here, we're going to have a decent one here, and then we're gone. We're going to the next level, people. Buckle up, my friends. It's in sight, and it's coming. Listen, if you watch this, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Come by for the live streams. I stream every day from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the market. We've had a great group of people in there. I've only done it 3 days, and they've been the same people have came in all 3 days. I got some big plans to handle identifying all of these algorithms that are out there. I have a few already that I trade off of, and then filing the stocks underneath its algorithm that it trades under. I think a Discord is on its way to do that. This shit is real, and it's market wide, and it's as close to bulletproof as I've ever seen. I have kicked ass using this method to trade, and yeah, I've had enough of shot callers and wrong callers making projections and making money off of a community on guesses and on guesswork. So I decided to put myself out there. I had some nudges from some people to do so, and I'm finally listening. They've been nudging me for months, and finally I listened. So if you watched the video, thank you. If you made it this far, thank you for staying. Please leave a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. I'm trying to get this channel built up and get this out to more people to see how real algorithms within the market are, and that if you can identify these things, it'll change your trading life. I promise you. All right. I think that's it. All right, people. Thank you. Good luck in the markets today. I'll be live if you want to come back by, and I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this all helps.